Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, the Unhinged Father. Hope everyone's having a fantastic week so far and really getting ready for a good little weekend here. Got a good one planned for you today. It's going to be a little different from what I've done in the past, where I usually pick one topic and just talk about that the entire way through. This one's just going to be more so what's top of mind for me, what I want to talk about, going into different things here and there. So bear with me. Hopefully you like it. If not, tough shit. I'll try and start us off on more of a positive note before I get into some of the more pessimistic things that I'm going to get into today. So the first thing that I wanted to kind of jump into was when I was at church the other day, and I know I've been talking a lot more about like church and Jesus and stuff like that. It's just the season of life that we're in. We go to church with the kids. We have a new pastor. He's actually really good, and he brings in a lot of the message that he brings in is applicable to life. And one thing that he talked about was just, you never know that the impact that you're going to have on someone or something that you do, what impact that is going to have on other people. And I just think that that's a really good message, especially in a post-COVID world where we've all been so isolated for so long. We've gotten to these habits to where we don't reach out. We don't see each other as much, or at least in my life, I don't see people as much as I used to before. And I've almost become like ashamed of the fact that I don't reach out to my friends as much or haven't talked to them in so long. And so it just continues to like prolong this situation where I'm not talking to them or where I haven't had contact with them. And I think that the message, you don't know what impact you're going to have on someone. Someone may be having like a shitty day and just on the brink of losing it. And you could just send them a quick text message. Hey, how's it going? Haven't talked to you in a while. Thinking about you. I hope you're doing well. They may blow that off. It may not be something super important to them, but for some people, it could be the difference in their day, making their day just a little bit better, just a little spark to rekindle just the friendship that you may have. And this doesn't necessarily just go for people that we know. It's also people that we don't know. You don't know what kind of day someone's having when, get on an elevator with them. Are you just going to sit there and stare at your phone awkwardly because you don't want to interact with another person? Or are you going to turn and say, hey, good morning? And when they leave and they get off the elevator, hey, have a great rest of the day. Something small like that, we just can take completely for granted. And I do it, and I am not greater than thou. I have definitely gotten on elevators and been like, I don't want to fucking talk to anyone. And I just pull up my phone and I start looking at, I don't know, text messages from like a year ago, anything to not have to talk to someone else. I'm not here to shame people for not interacting with other people or for not feeling like talking to other people, but I'm just here to highlight the fact that you don't know what your actions are going to have, what impact your actions are going to have on other people. Just giving a quick smile or saying hello, that could be the most human interaction that someone has had like an entire day, an entire week. You have no fucking clue. And that little bit of just kindness, of compassion, of friendliness can go so far. That could change that person's day. This is also in regards to like things that you're doing. I guess for me, it hits home because I'm sitting here doing this podcast, and not only is it for my own creative outlet, but I'm hoping that it's impacting other people as well and that it's having a positive impact on them. I have no clue if people are listening to this podcast and taking anything from the message, if they're really benefiting from it, if they enjoy it, or if anything that I'm saying is making small changes within their lives. For all I know, the only people listening to this podcast are just my friends who are listening to it out of pity because they don't want me to be this loser talking to himself at 4:30 in the morning. They just think I'm this person who's on the brink of sanity, and by them listening to it, they're keeping me holding on just for a little bit longer. So if that's what you're doing, I appreciate it. But hopefully people are listening, getting something from it. And even if it's not right now, maybe in the future when I'm dead and gone, like most great artists of their time, it's never appreciated when they're alive. So, when I've passed on, maybe this will be, my Mona Lisa. Anyways, the pastor at our sermon, he talked about a story where this lady invited a new family that had just moved into town to church for Easter or for Christmas or something like that, and said, hey, if you're more than welcome to come to church that I go to. And to her, it was just something really small. And she's like, I don't know if I should. I don't want to encroach, all this stuff. And it was like this very small thing that she got over, and she did eventually ask these people if they'd like to go to church with her. And then they tell the story of the opposite. And it was the mother of the family that just moved in who said that this invitation changed the course of their lives in this new town, because she was a new mom dealing with postpartum depression and had kids and just was completely lost moving into this new town. And they almost didn't go to church, but they took her up on this invitation, and they just found this sense of community and belonging. It helped her get through her postpartum depression and all of these things that happened. And it all came from just this courage of this one lady to invite someone to church. And I'm not sitting here telling you, hey, go invite people to church, go preach the good word, repent, accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. I'm not fucking saying that. What I'm saying is that you don't know when you invite people to come over, or if you invite people to hang out with you, or you sit down and do a podcast and you talk about certain things that are important to you, you don't know what impact that's going to have on other people. So be courageous. I know that it can be scary to put yourself out there and to be vulnerable in that way. You don't know how people are really going to react. You don't know if they're going to sit there and make fun of you, or they're going to rebuke you. Those are all real possibilities, and I can empathize with that fear. But at the same time, that fear shouldn't be enough to stop you from doing what could save someone, something that could really help someone in a hard spot. So be courageous, put yourself out there, invite people, do stuff, be friendly, smile, say hello, put your fucking phone away. That's not an order. Just an observation. And that'll do it for the positivity for today. One-way trip down to negative town. Just kidding. The next one is something that has been on my mind as of late, especially because I've been going to the gym more frequently. Gym culture today just fucking sucks. And maybe it's just the places I go. Sorry, 24-hour fitness. That's where I'm heading right now. And maybe it's the time that I'm going. I used to go early in the morning. There was only like 6 people there, so I don't have to worry about it. But now I go during my lunch break. And that must just be prime time for all of the gym rats. Just come out of their crevices, come out of their holes, and come to the gym. And there's a few things that I've been noticing that have just been really, I don't know, pissing me off or making me super annoyed. But when I go during the lunch hour, it seems like the gym is just a fucking social club, which maybe it has become that, right? Who am I to judge where people go to hang out and have fun with each other and try to meet girls or meet guys? I'll tell you who I am. I'm a fucking unhinged father, and I'm right. They're wrong. The gym is not a social gathering place. The gym is a place to go and work out, get swole, get your grunt on, get sweaty, and then fucking go home. Right? It's a place to get the emotions out. It's a place to exercise. And one of the things I've been noticing when I go during this lunch hour is that I'm just seeing full faces of makeup, like TikTok faces of makeup, $150 to $200 outfits, Lululemon. And I'll tell you what I'm not fucking seeing. I'm not fucking seeing any sweat. I'm not seeing any strain. I'm not seeing anything like that. So maybe I'm just an old man who is a grumpy curmudgeon, but if you're going to the gym in your $200 Lululemon outfit with a full face of makeup, or for the guys still in your fucking $150 Lululemon or whatever thing, in your gallon of water, your ripped t-shirt, if you're going and you're not sweating, if you're not working out, if you're not there to push yourself, be like a normal, degenerate, teenage, young adult and go to a bar and do this shit. Don't take up space or air in my fucking gym, all right? Let me have it. It's the one place I've got. I've got 2 little kids. I don't sleep. I wake up at 4 a.m. just so I could get up and read and journal and take a piss and cold plunge, and then there's this fucking podcast. Let me have a little bit of space and time at the gym where I don't have to worry about all these youngsters coming in and annoying the shit out of me. Get off my lawn. And as I mentioned in my short episode that came out yesterday, if you wear Crocs to the gym and you've got your fucking pieces of flair on your Crocs. I don't know what they call them. I'm old. Call me a boomer if you want to. All I can think about is Office Space and just like your fucking pieces of flair. If you are wearing Crocs to the gym, you have already purchased a one-way ticket to the depths of hell. So may God have mercy on your soul. Go buy some fucking athletic shoes, you hipster. And speaking of the youngsters and today's mentality or whatever you'd like to call it, I've had another observation as I'm going through my week and getting inundated with reels and Instagram stories and shit like that. If you've listened to this podcast long enough, you understand that I'm 100% on board with mental health and being kind to other people and paying more attention to mental health. But as we always do as a society, I feel like we've just gone in the complete opposite direction in certain aspects of mental health. It's almost like you have to validate every fucking emotion or feeling that someone has, which if you have kids or have lived with someone who's unstable, you know, you don't validate every fucking thought or feeling that comes through, because there's a lot of thoughts and feelings that come through. If I validated every thought and feeling that I had, I'd be a homicidal fucking maniac. We can't do that in life either. You can't validate every feeling or every emotion that comes in. Look, you could be acknowledging of it, right? You could say like, hey, I understand that you're having like this anger or that you're upset about this, but that doesn't mean that you completely alter certain aspects of society just to cater to this small group of people that feel a certain way. I think that we sometimes confuse having empathy for someone or having this space for someone to feel emotions or to be understanding of things with the idea of being comfortable all the time, right? I hear a lot of people talk about like, I'm uncomfortable, or you made this person uncomfortable, or even like the cancel culture, you've offended someone. People talk about rights and the fact that they have like the right to live, the right to be human, or whatever the fuck they say. I'll tell you what we don't have a right to. We don't have a right to always be comfortable. We don't have a right to an easy life. There's no such thing as a fucking easy life. Life is difficult. That is probably one of the defining aspects of life, that it's going to be difficult. It's going to be unfair. There's going to be shit that comes up, and we just have to learn to deal with it. And we're doing a disservice to the newer generations and even to ourselves by trying to make everything so comfortable all the time. And I struggle with this as a parent because I'm always trying to help my kids and make sure that they have the best life ever. But where is that line? Where do you stop doing everything for them and let them struggle? Not like to a painful degree, but you need them to get into a state of being uncomfortable, to challenge themselves. Because if you're never getting out of your comfort zone, you're never going to be growing. And that goes for everyone in this world. Life is hard. Life is difficult. Things suck. You can fight to try and make them better. But by trying to make things perfect or trying to make it to where everyone feels comfortable or everything is easy for everyone, you're just creating a shit society, and it's not going to work. And if you go back and listen to what the founding fathers said, what do we have the right to? We have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What people don't understand is that that word pursuit, it could be synonymous with the word struggle for. It's the struggle for happiness. It's the struggle to try and find good things in this world, to make your life better. You have to struggle to do that. And if you're not struggling, if you're not working through being uncomfortable, you're not growing. My good friend Eric Matthews once said in Boy Meets World, life's tough. Get a helmet. And speaking of society and some of the weird directions that we've been going, I'm sure some of you have seen these stories of squatters and different squatter laws across the United States. If you haven't heard about it, long story short, someone doesn't live in a house for a while. Maybe it's a vacation house or something like that. People come in and squatted it. They live in the house, and there are certain states that give rights to those people to where if there's like a conflict, someone comes home to their home and there's squatters there. There's a conflict. The people that actually own the home might be the ones in the wrong, quote unquote, in the wrong. They're the ones who might get arrested or have legal charges against them. And so I don't know all of the different laws throughout the United States. I'm not sure if some of this is being sensationalized. I'm sure that some of it is being overblown for political purposes. That being said, I also know that our government does some pretty stupid shit, and I wouldn't put it past them to give rights to people who are squatting on other people's property. In my opinion, it's really not that hard of a fucking fix. If someone owns a piece of property, it's their house, and they come in and there's someone else there, that person doesn't have any fucking rights. They are breaking and entering into a property that's not theirs. They are the criminals. They're the ones who are breaking the law. It's not like, and I'm not talking about, hey, there's a big storm and someone's got a cabin and someone breaks in to get out of this big storm for a day, right? That could potentially happen, and I wouldn't fault that person for breaking and entering. Like, yes, they're technically breaking the law, letter of the law, but spirit of the law, I feel like that's something to me that can be forgiven. It's not malicious. I don't think that that's necessarily the worst thing in the world. But these stories of the squatters coming in, living in places, there was one where a lady, her mother passed away, and the apartment or wherever she was, condo, I don't remember exactly what it was vacant. She was from out of the country, I think. She came to clean it all up to sell it. It had been vacant for a while. There were squatters there. There was a confrontation, and the squatters ended up killing this lady. And it's just absolutely nuts to me that there would even be a conversation on like who had right to that. I don't think anyone's disputing the fact that like killing her was wrong, but the fact that this confrontation came up and that there are laws in place that would make it viable for people to come in, move into a place, squat there for a certain amount of time, and then have legal rights to someone else's property is just fucking batshit crazy to me. I don't understand how that makes any sense whatsoever. Last time I checked, this was still America. And even if you want to push us towards more of like a communist or Marxist society or a socialist, democratic, wherever you want to fucking drive us, it's still America right now. And if someone owns a piece of property, I don't care if it's a vacation home or something like that, that's their property. That is their property to use as they see fit. And if someone else comes and lives on that property for a certain amount of time, doesn't mean that they have rights. It means that they've been fucking breaking and entering for a long time. They've already gotten a free handout for a certain amount of time. And when that person comes back, tough shit. Get the fuck off the property. Go back to wherever you are, find another place to squat, but you don't have right to that property. And that'll do it for this episode. A little bit more of an ADHD-induced episode there. Definitely kind of all over the place. Not as much of a singular theme within this one. Hope that you enjoyed it. Hope that you got something from it, or maybe just chuckled at the fact that I get so pissed off about the most random things constantly. If you don't know me, or you're just kind of listening into the podcast, I have a very dry, dark sense of humor, and I don't really hate everyone all of the time, at least. I'm not always this grumpy. I'm usually a relatively pleasant person to be around, but I do think that it's funny to just sit there and complain about shit like this that's really completely off the wall already. That being said, if you enjoyed the episode, if you enjoy the content, go give me a follow on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Give me a follow on Instagram, Facebook. I think I've even got a Twitter or an X as well. All of those things are available in the link tree, which are in the show notes. If you're so inclined, definitely give a 5-star review to the podcast. It will help out in the future, I'm sure. And if there's anyone that you think could benefit from this podcast or may enjoy it or may chuckle, similar to what I talked about in the beginning, you never know what small invitation may change someone's life. So if there's someone that you think may enjoy this, someone that you think may benefit from hearing the struggles of a 36-year-old, overweight, angry, ADHD-inflicted millennial dad, feel free, share this episode, share the podcast. I really do appreciate it. And hope that you all have a fantastic weekend. As always, be good, try hard, do your best.